These little joining links are one of the best inventions for taking all the faff out of joining and repairing a bicycle chain. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use them. In the past then, joining a chain used to be quite a fiddly and tricky job. It would require using a tool such as this, a chain splitting tool or a chain tool, pin tool, to drive a pin through the centre of the link and locate it with the outer plates on the other side. And it had to be done very accurately because a poorly joined chain would pretty much render it dangerous. It could snap at any time, and that was a frequent thing. People did used to suffer a lot with broken chains because they'd been fitted poorly. So the beauty of these joining links, or magic links, missing links, whatever they're called, there's various terms for them, is they take all of that kind of guesswork and fiddliness out of joining the chain. You simply pop these links together, and once they're on, you've got a securely joined and safe chain. So I'm going to show you how they work. Essentially, there are various different types on the market, but they all work in the same way, which is to have a kind of offset slotted outer plate. A bit like almost like a keyhole shape to the hole in the outer plate there, such that when you pop it through the chain links, you end up with this, you see the offset hole there, so that you can push the links together, pop them through, locate it in that little hole, and then it slots back on itself and locks into place. So you can see how that comes apart, goes together, push that into place, and then you can slot it back. Now on this particular one you would require a lot more force to actually lock it because it's a single-use link, but that's essentially the technique. I'm going to use the bike in a second to show you exactly how to apply that technique to actually fitting it to a bike, but that's essentially just demonstrating how these magic links work, popping together and then extending into that slotted outer plate to lock into place. So it takes, as I said, takes all the guesswork and fiddliness out of trying to join a bicycle chain. So let's have a look at how you'd apply that on the bike itself. First of all, we'll look at fitting a chain to a bike as if it were a brand new chain that you were fitting. Okay, so I've threaded the new chain through the drivetrain and the mech, so we're ready to look at joining the two ends of the chain now. Obviously, I know this is the correct length chain for this bike. Ascertaining the length of chain for your bike is something we'll cover off in another video, but just quickly, that would basically require you to have used a chain splitting tool such as this to just remove the right number of links to make sure that you end up with this situation, which is the two ends of the chain looking like that with the inner plates ready to accept the joining link. As you can see, even in the smallest cassette sprocket here and in the small chain ring, the two ends of the chain don't actually meet. So that's important. This is a good tip, is to make sure you're joining your chain in this gear because it gives you the most amount of slack in the chain then, or the shortest distance to work with. But what's really handy at this stage is a little tool like this. So this one's by Peak, but there are several on the market. And what this does is enables you to just hook in and take some of the tension out of that chain, so it makes life easier to work. There we go. Right, so that now is holding the tension in the drivetrain, so you're not fighting against the spring tension in the mech, and it just means that you've got the two ends of the chain here ready to work on and join. Really cool little tool, that. Right, another thing to note at this point, some chains that have directional joining links, not all, but this one does. This is a SRAM red chain, so this has a little arrow on the side plate there. Hopefully you can see that. But yeah, that just tells me the direction of movement that this would be in through the drivetrain. So in this case, it goes like that. So I'm just going to pop the two joining links through. And as we saw back at the start of the video, I'm left with those kind of slotted keyhole shaped holes in the outer plates there, which I'm then going to just line up and just push the links through and sort of lock that just temporarily in place, hand tight. And then I can just unhook the tool and let that sit under its own tension. Okay, so that's not the process finished. I must be clear at this point, that's just the first stage. What you need to do now is just extend that link and lock it itself into place. Now, the best way to do that is actually to use the drivetrain to help you. So what I'll do is I'll watch that link, I'll pedal round until it comes to the top of the drivetrain. There it is. Now we can see it again here. Now what I can do is just hold the back wheel with my hand, or get someone to hold the back brake on or whatever, and then just pull the pedal down and that gives me enough leverage then. You maybe heard the click then into place, you'll hear it audibly clunk into place, and that is a joining link fitted. Simple as that. So, as I said before, it takes all that kind of guesswork out of the old way. We used to have to push that pin through, and you had the danger of splaying the outer links if it wasn't done correctly and so on. This is a guaranteed secure join for your chain. There can be no stiff links. Again, that was another really sort of awkward thing using those old sort of chain joining tools, was you ended up with a stiff link which would ruin the drivetrain, and your gears wouldn't work properly and so on. But yeah, that's a sort of a one-time fit, easy, simple as that. Now, depending on the brand, some brands will say these are single use only, so do look at that in the instructions if you ever want to disconnect your chain, because that's the other thing we're going to cover in this video, is how to do the reverse, which is to remove your chain with the joining link. And for that, again, another little simple tool. These are a set of joining link pliers. Again, several brands on the market. These ones happen to be Topeak ones, but what we do is go back to having the joining link at the bottom. Again, that's a good place to work because there's plenty of room either side. You can see what you're doing. These joining link pliers are designed to locate either side, and as I just pop that apart, you can see that I've then pulled those pins back into the slots, and that will enable me then to just pop that link apart like so. Now, where this is really handy, obviously, you can take your chain off if you were maybe packing your bike to go abroad. You will need to have a spare joining link, obviously, because, as I said, some brands will specify that these are single-use products. So once you've taken that off, you'll probably want to replace it with a new one, but they're not expensive. The other thing that's really handy at this point is to show you how these can make a simple repair out on the road. Because if you were unfortunate enough to break your chain on a ride, you would quite easily be able to carry a set of joining links with you and a small chain splitter, and very quickly you can get yourself back on the road and yeah, be home. Okay, so we've been through it pretty much once, but I'm going to do it one more time, just in real time, so you can see just how long this takes, and yeah, hopefully I'll show you how simple this is to do. So I'm going to use my nifty little Topeak chain holding tool again here. Just locate my links like so. Get a new joining link, obviously, because the SRAM links are single use, so I'll fit a fresh one just because I'm going to go out riding this bike later, and I want to make sure it's all good. So there we go, joining links in like so, slotted links, locate the pins, just pop that finger tight into position, then I'm going to let the chain go taut. Link's now in place, just give it a visual check, looks all right, that's fine. I'm going to watch that link round the drivetrain, through the curves until it ends up here. Then I'm going to just hold the wheel, use the leverage of the crank arm and pop into place. Clicked in, again, visual checks, all looks like it's seated nicely, no stiff links, chain joined, simple as that. So hopefully you can see these are really easy to use, take all the guesswork out of joining your chain, super quick, and could get you out of a real situation out on the road as well, and make sure you can finish your ride and not be stranded.